Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jerry Sansing back again. This is Sunday, May the 19th, 2019. I'm filming this and got some interesting things to talk about. This is South Texas News and Reviews. My email address is gsansing@gmail.com, and this is available on YouTube. Just go into YouTube and put in Jerry with a J, J-E-R-R-Y, Sansing, and the shows will crop up. The South Texas News and Reviews, this one, and the What's Going On in Corpus Christi, which is the other one that I air on public access. Anyway, I'll be right back with you. Okay, I hate to be this graphic with things, ladies and gentlemen. I know that's probably disgusting to an awful lot of you. I don't find any pleasure in it, but I just put this on to let you know that in this town and in this county and state and so forth, there's a taxpayer. We always get stuck holding the bag. And then we've got Big Brother there that's going to make sure that we all fare well. Same thing is beginning to come true at Del Mar College. All of the non-administrative faculty members and other workers that are non-administrative get to hold the bag a good bit over there these days. And I'm going to discuss that at length in just a few minutes. So I will be right back with my happy, smiling face. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here's one more bit of information I'd like to pass on to you. I personally had these signs made up. I did have some contributors with me. Therefore it says paid for by G. Sansing et al. Down there. That means and others. And this was during the 2016 bond run to build a whole bunch of buildings that we don't need and to open up and build a brand new campus out at Rodfield Road and Yorktown. We don't need it, folks, and I'm going to try to tell you I'm going to continue on with this until, the hot place freezes over. We still do not need that facility at this juncture in time and the expense that goes with that. Just wanted to show you that, and that give you some idea of how popular I am over there at Del Mar College and with a lot of these business people, engineers, architects, and so forth around town, bankers, and so forth. But, somebody's got to stand up for it, and since I'm president of the Corpus Christi Taxpayers Association, silence is not the answer. So I'm going to keep talking about it and raising hell. Anyway, I'll be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it appears the camera's rolling and the lights are on. I'm going to go ahead and take my seat. We'll discuss a few things about what's going on around here in Corpus Christi, Texas, and Texas itself, and I won't get into national politics. That's enough to make you want to regurgitate if you know what I'm talking about these days. Okay, I'm sick and tired of all the blather, and then we've got people popping off in the newspaper about various things that are enough to turn your stomach to. Anyway, and speaking of which, my bill for my caller times just went up about $2 per issue delivered, and I'll have a few words to say about that at the end if I've got a chance. Okay, this is South Texas News and Reviews. On June the 20th, we're going to have a new airing schedule. June the 2nd, coming up here pretty quick. Now we have got Channel 6, which is the public access television station on Grande. It's 1303, that channel on Spectrum if you've got Spectrum, and it's channel 99 if you've got AT&T. Okay, so beginning June 2nd on those shows, then South Texas News and Reviews will air Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, which was standard, and then I had to switch it over to Thursday from Tuesday to Thursday night at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then I'll give you the schedule for what's going on in Corpus Christi and the voice of Ed Bennett. Now we also are going to start airing these programs also on Channel 18, which is the public access Channel 18 on Grande. It's 1304 on Spectrum, and it's still Channel 99 on AT&T. So those times for this show on Channel 18 will be Wednesday at noon until 1 p.m., Thursday at 11 a.m. until noon. Okay, so you can see them the morning, noon, and night now, and on different days. So I'll keep you posted on those and let you know what the others are for what's going on in Corpus Christi and the other one. And then I'm still going to go ahead and show this as well as Hole in the Bag. This is old Jiminy Cricket giving Pinocchio hell for lying, and you know, I guess I just need to go get me a new chainsaw, or at least a new chain blade for it, so I can trim that nose back with a lot of these elected officials around here that insist on lying at all costs, okay? And I'm just going to say blatantly, they lie, folks. And a lot of times you can tell when they're lying. All you have to do is watch their lips, and if they start moving, you can guarantee you're being fed a load of hooey and being probably lied to. Now, I found this astounding in yesterday's paper. Today is the 19th of May. And yesterday, Saturday, the 18th, it had an article in the Caller Times that says Robstown ranked as worst city or worst Texas city to live in. Okay, now I probably wouldn't go as far as to say that. It's a little rural town, folks. I mean, how can it be the worst to live in? And then they go on with this stuff. This was by Megan Falcone. And it says, everyone has an opinion about the city where he or she lives. One Financial News and Opinion sought to analyze why some cities are favorable to others. Sorry, Robstown. The company 24/7 Wall Street recently ranked 50 U.S. cities as the worst cities to live in. The company published their findings earlier this month and recently published an article in USA Today. Okay? Then what we've got is it said that the article stated the worst Texas city to reside in is Robstown, a small city located 18 miles west of Corpus Christi. The company reported Robstown has struggled with high joblessness for years, and stated an average of 80.1 of the area's labor force has been unemployed over the last 5 years, as well above the comfortable 4.1 national employment. Then it goes on, okay? According to the news article, the company created an index consisting of 25 measures to identify the worst cities to live in every state. The categories included affordability, economy, quality of life, and community. The city with the worst score in every state was considered to be the worst city to live in, the article stated. Okay? So, I don't know. I rarely get to Robstown, but I haven't seen that type of a strife. And, I think that bodes fairly poorly from USA Today publishing crap like that. And, it may sell some newspapers, but now that we're under that purview with the Caller Times, then, I can't. I can believe it. Then to carry on here, we've got a tax break for disasters. I mentioned this on the What's Going On in Corpus Christi show. Lawmakers consider bill to challenge property tax. And it says here by Paul Betancourt, it says nothing makes home and business owners madder than paying full property taxes on a damaged or destroyed property. And it has quite an article here about the results of Harvey and how that goes on and on and on. Okay. Now, another thing that I'm concerned about is when you get into some of this stuff, then we do have the tax breaks for that. Okay. And if you take a look around, I filmed a show not long ago with the What's Going On in Corpus Christi, showing the condition of some of our streets around here. I usually travel down Ohio Street when I go towards Delmar, which is my employer. Okay, and there are gaping chug holes everywhere. And then there was one that developed out in my back in the alley behind my house, and I did call the city on a Monday, and they had it filled in by Thursday. I don't know what they used. It looked like half a pint of Elmer's glue and about a trailer truck full of gravel, so I don't think it's going to hold up, but at least it was done in a timely manner. And I don't know why they can't get that whole section of Ohio over there, which is it's a disaster, folks, paved. Now, we have our Mr. Ronnie Canales, who is our tax or the appraiser around here, home appraisers, okay, then what happens with that is he has indicated in the past when people said that they protest their property appraisals because of the conditions of the street that's in front of the house. And Mr. Canales has stated that no, that doesn't matter. We go by the value of the structure, not the house. Now, I would think that the appraisal, when I was I was a real estate broker for a long time, folks. I did that as a sidelight when I was in the research and consulting business and so forth and so on. Okay, so I was a broker for a good 12 years, and I know the real estate appraisal. Okay, I did mostly commercial properties, and I do know that the condition of the infrastructure at the place of the particular structure has everything to do with the appraised value. But around here it does not. So, you know, if those people over there on Ohio Street, and then they've got problems on Indiana and a bunch of streets all over the city, then I think it's time to have you good taxpayers out there, since I'm president of the Taxpayers Association in Corpus Christi, Texas, then I think you need to start, excuse me, start protesting that. See, I get all choked up when I get to this point. I don't know what happened. I guess it's my spite. But anyway, I think Mr. Canales needs to be held to a different standard. Now, pardon me, particularly when he turns around and it's in the Caller Times, what's Valero Refinery worth? What's your stake? And this was by Tom Whitehurst Jr. of the Caller Times. And he wrote a real good article about this. And it's, it's just amazing how Mr. Canales, excuse me, can go after residential people, and then all of these large corporations around here, refineries and chemical companies and so forth and so on, steel companies, pipe companies, can get away with murder. And then, you know, when the high rollers around here, our elected officials, find out that somebody's interested in moving to Corpus Christi, then they see all these big dollar signs. Excuse me. I don't know what got into me. Okay, I'll see if I can get over it right quick. But you know, these entities like Del Mar College and the city and the county and all give these large tax abatements to these multi-billion-dollar corporations, and then after they are established, and Valero's one of them, then what they do is they turn right around and sue the taxing entities and say that their property's not worth what the appraisal is on those, okay? And they've got this. It says, valuation lawsuits like Valero's are a growing trend among industries because they have nothing to lose and potential millions to gain. That means millions of dollars. The way the current law is written, they can even stick an appraiser and so forth. It goes on. But appraisal district for court costs. If they win and don't have to pay court costs, if they lose, just like you wouldn't have to pay the appraisal district's cost if you disputed your home's valuation. And then it says local taxing entities refunded $21 million to Valero to settle its previous valuation dispute. And that came out of Del Mar College also, folks, and the city and the county and so forth. So, Mr. Canales, I wish you'd go ahead and take it as easy on the people that are paying the true taxes around here and paying the freight, so to speak, and your salary and so forth, and take it easy on them. And we need to figure out, get some slick attorney somewhere that can go and prove to Valero. Folks, they're multi-billion-dollar corporations. They can fight you in court in a heartbeat. And then, even though we do have 26 attorneys on the city staff down here, and then we're spending $2 million roughly a year for outside attorneys, somewhere between $1.5 million and $2 million, with 26 full-timers, and one in the lead that I have absolutely no faith or trust in. That's our city manager, our city attorney. Then, we need to do something about it. Now, I am the Taxpayers Association president. We have a lot to say around here. We needed the voices of the more people if we can get it, and people that are concerned about your taxes and being ripped off every single day and every minute of every day. And, you know, I'm not, all you have to do is contact me at gsansing@gmail.com, and I will provide you with the times and dates and so forth that our Taxpayers Association members get together. And, you know, if you need to stand up for what you've got, and as I said in the beginning of this, silence is not the answer to it, folks. You can't sit there on your rumps and not take these people to task. Otherwise, they will mess you over big time. Okay? And then it says that Valero, on the other hand, and here's another reason that burns me up. Valero may face a $1.3 million fine from the state Attorney General's office. Penalty relates to the 2016 water backflow incident. And it says the proposed $1.3 million fine is related to a contaminated water backflow incident that occurred at Valero's Corporation, or Valero Corpus Christi asphalt plant, the report states, which occurred in December of 2016, if you remember that water mess we had. So, you know, maybe we can get some compensation for all of that. I don't know where the money will go. I hope it goes into water quality around here. It's basically nothing that you can take and write home about. And then if you want to go back to some of the other problems around here, Portland had soot all over it from the voestalpine plant over there where they were making steel and other things. And, you know, refining the iron ore and so forth and so on to make the little nurdles or whatever. No, nurdles is the plastic that we're stuck with around here from all our plastic makers around here. And then we've got Exxon Mobil coming in to kill off Portland, Texas. And Gregory Portland, Ingleside, and Corpus Christi, Texas. That's going to be a real treat. Now, another thing that happens is, it says lawmakers in a battle over windstorm rates. This came out today. It was Mr. Nick Jimenez put this out, and he's talking about the squabble that one of our elected officials around here, Todd Hunter, is having with some of the other people that don't live on the coast about why should the coast be paying for hail damage in Abilene with windstorm and so forth, but the people in Abilene don't want to help us out when we get hit by a major hurricane. And the people out there do depend on Houston and Corpus Christi, Brownsville, and so forth, the coast, for a lot of their livelihood. That's where they're dumping all the oil over here and expecting us to pay for everything, ship it out, and make them a bunch of money. Okay? So, Mr. Hunter, if I can help you at all, then let me know, and we get the taxpayers behind you. But something's got to happen with the Texas Windstorm Insurance Association and so forth and so on. And I know some people that still can't get money, the full amount of money out of that insurance for the horrendous amount of damage that was done by Hurricane Harvey almost 2 years ago. It's a crime, folks. People are suffering. But, you know, I guess people in Lamarillo really don't give a damn unless it's their hail. And then, that, you know, if we refuse to pay for that damage out there in insurance, then they'd be squawking big time. So, you know, we need to put a little bit more fairness and equity into this Texas residents and the politicians around here, and quit squawking and squalling and getting something done for a change that matters for the general public, and not just to feed a bunch of bankers and politicians and architects, engineers, contractors, and so forth and so on. Now, I showed you the no Del Mar College bond sign that I put up back in the 2015 when the people went in and voted for the bond election there in 2016, and you came up with $137 million to build a brand new campus out at 96 acres of swampland at Yorktown and Rodfield Road. Okay, now that's been one of the biggest scams that's been perpetrated on this citizenry for a lot of years, folks. Okay, it's an absolute disaster. Now, I do work for Del Mar College. I started in September, I guess it was August, end of August in 1989. That means I'm coming up on my 30th anniversary. I did not go to the hoopla that they have for people that have been there 5, 10, 15 years, you know, these award ceremonies and so forth, to pick up another little plastic disc with a pin sticking out the back and a little clip on it. It's called a tie tack, or you stick it on your lapel. So, you know, I don't need any accolades after 30 years. I've done my job. I've earned my pay, I think. Okay. And other than occasionally, I don't have too many complaints from my students. Okay. Because what's happened at Del Mar College, I'll just interject this, is when a student complains, that student gets full right to complain. All the attention is drawn from certain administrators over there, and then they're going to go on this tirade and hunt to try to degrade the good name and the quality of our professors and so forth. Okay? So I'll just interject that. I've been, you know, I've had witch hunts, and I hate to use that term, but my mother's family was from about 1700, right at that thing. They were from Salem, Massachusetts, so I damn sure know a witch hunt when I see one. I've been to the Salem Willows as a kid many times, and the House of Seven Gables and the whole 9 yards, so I do know a witch hunt when I see one. Okay, and I've had 1 or 2 conducted against me, and I don't appreciate that, but that's just the temperament of the Del Mar College administration. Starting with the president, who allows that crap to go on. Okay, now, as far as me not wanting a 96 acres of swampland with a new campus out there with a third down payment on that at $137 or $9 million, I think it was 137, then I think I've got a right as a taxpayer to dispute that. Now, when I'm told back in 2015, as a citizen of this wonderful community, that we're bursting at the seams with enrollment over there at Del Mar, and we need this desperately, this new campus out there to house 15,000 students, and spend probably $500 million on it, ultimately, and then have it sink into the ground like a foundation did out there when the previous owner, or one of the previous owners, tried to build a house out there. The slab was all buckled up, sinking into the mud out there. And if you do pass by there after an extensive rainstorm, it looks like a lake. You've got all kinds of cranes out there, and ducks, and waterfowl, and so forth and so on, and then a bunch of rats being run out of that lowland over there, and other critters, skunks and possums and stuff, into the new neighborhoods that they're building up out there. Then, we don't need that, folks, and I was preaching it, and that's why I had that sign all over the place. And then I had another one, just as a sidelight, when we had the last election for the Board of Regents members, and I had vote no for any current Del Mar College regent, and one of the individuals that was running again for re-election in that race was spotted by several people around town, and I have the tag number of the car where this person would stop and pull my signs up that I paid for that were on public property, and they are my personal property, okay? Then stick them in the trunk and drive off. Then I still have the description of that vehicle and the license number. That's the way some of these people operate around here, okay? Now, that person's not on the board at the current time. Thank the Lord. Okay. All right, now, so what I'm going to do is they keep preaching that we are bursting at the seams and that our student population, our enrollment is going to be skyrocketing. Therefore, we need all these new buildings on East and West Campus for $150 some odd million. And then we also need a new campus out there at the south side, they're going to call it. And the down payment of that is just under $140 million. And that's just phase one out of 3 or 4 phases. Okay, so we're looking at $500 million to complete something like that. And to house, they started out with 20,000 students, and then they wound up saying, well, it's going to house 15,000 students, because that way what we have are the people that live out there on the south side with all these new developments and stuff, then their kids will want to go out there and not go over here on East or West Campus. Okay? Now, let me give you the statistics on this. This is out of Del Mar College's own statistical profile and their own numbers, folks. In 1992, the total enrollment for Del Mar College was 11,659 students. Okay, that was the enrollment. Then it went up 293. It dropped about 100, about 1,000 in 94. By the time we hit 2000, it was down to 9,936. Back in 2002, it went back up to just over 11,000. And then if you follow this through, we were 11 to 12,000, just barely topped 12,000 by 6 students in 2005. Went back down under 11,500 for 2000 all the way through 2008. Had 69 students over the 12,000 mark in 2009. Then we had 236 over the 12,000 in 2010. 2011 it dropped back down almost to 12,000. And then in 2012 we had 11,030. In 2013 it dropped to 10,502. And then in 2014 it dropped it was at 10,400. 2015 was 10,800. 2016 was 11,689, and they were preaching that, boy, we really are zooming right up there in enrollment, and we're bursting at the seams. And then in 2017 it was 11,476. Now let me go back to 1992. That was 11,659. Okay, so what we've got is we've got about 200 less in 2017 than we had in 1992, and we haven't topped 13,000 yet. The highest we had were a couple of years at 12,000 and something. Now another thing that disturbs me is in 2014 they started adding into that the dual credit students as full-time students at Del Mar College to give us this enrollment. Okay, so if you look at the 2014, we are at 10,439 total. 1,416 of those are dual credit. These are mostly students that do not come to campus. Okay, and they're at their high school out in Sinton, or Lord knows where, out in these outlying areas over at Portland and so forth and so on. But then if you look at the college credit enrollment that's non-dual credit, we were at 9,023. Same thing happened in 2015, ladies and gentlemen. We had 10,852 total. Okay, 1,823 of those were dual credit, so we had 9,029. That's 6 more than the year before. College credit students, okay, non-dual credit. And then we've got in 2016 we had 11,689. It jumped up about 0.800, but the dual credit count was 2,093, so we had a total of 9,596 students as compared to 11,659 in 1992. Now, another problem I've got with the dual credit is they don't pay full college credit tuition. They pay $99 for a 3-hour credit course, where it costs about $300 and something for a college student, a Del Mar College credit student, to go there. Okay? And then if they're out of district, it's even more than that. So taxpayers, as far as I'm concerned, you're being ripped off. And what we're doing now, Del Mar College is talking to the people up in Beeville about dual credit teaching up there. Because I guess Coastal Bend College, they lost their president, I understand, from shenanigans up there, changing grades, particularly in the nursing program, to make it look better. I know that happened down here with a little fanfare, and I don't know if it's still going on or not. I'm not in the position right now that I can check on that and find out. But I do know that grades have been changed here, and that when students complained about a professor for being too tough in clinical trials, then what happens, they go ahead and dismiss that faculty member. Okay? I don't know what else to say, folks, except, you know, the place is crawling with maggots over there, unfortunately. Now, so that's the story on the dual credit, okay, versus the enrollment. So if we have not exceeded the enrollment currently of the college in 1992, 1993, then, you know, I don't know what to tell you, folks, except you're being duped for hundreds of millions of dollars. And I've fought it. I've been called names for that. I'm as popular as inflamed hemorrhoids over there at Del Mar College with a lot of the board members and a lot of the administrators and so forth. But, you know, frankly, my dear. All right, now, in addition to that, we have one of the highest, if not the highest, it's called a FTSE, okay? That is the highest, let's see, defined number of full-time students plus total hours taken by part-time students divided by 12, okay? So we have not, since 2008, we haven't really exceeded the FTSE since then, okay? So we're not growing, okay? Then if you want to add that to the amount of money per full-time student equivalent, okay, then we are now the highest out of the 50 community colleges in the state of Texas. Do you know what the debt is for each one of our students? If we take our 11,000 something, and I'm sure they calculated the dual credit in here too. If you take that out, it'd probably be higher. Okay. Now, if you look at the debt in 2009 per full-time student equivalent, it was $12,551 debt for each student we had, full-time student equivalent. Okay, and that dropped a little bit as we go down. I think the lowest I see here is 2014. That's when one of the big bonds was issued. And now, since we have the 2014 bonds, and then that was the East and West construction and so forth and so on, and now we've got the 2016 bonds, which is at Southside campus. We're up to $33,108 per full-time student equivalent. That's what the debt is for each student that we've got at Del Mar College. Okay? Which throws a hell of a burden on you people. I mean, you know, we're paying the taxes around here, and the state does not pay, according to one of these documents in here, that the state does not pay for the construction of the physical facilities of a community college. That's up to you taxpayers. So now you've been encumbered in 2014 bonds and the 2016 bonds. Let's see, it was 157 and I think 139 million. So what are we looking at? About $300 million? $300 million, folks, not thousand, million. Okay, and you've got to pay this back. So what they're doing is they're bumping your taxes up, your property tax. And they're going to bump tuition up, which is going to cost the kids more to go to college. And since we can't use and have no use for a lot of this new construction around here, then we're in deep trouble, folks. I'm just trying to let you know why I had that no Del Mar College bond signs up for the 2014 and 2016 elections. Okay? I try to pay attention. Sometimes I'm told I don't. And then we've got the 2014 Capital Improvement Program facts. Okay, this is from Del Mar College. And it says, what is included in the Capital Improvement Program to serve the 15,000 student population established by the state as Del Mar College's target for achieving closing the gap's goals in the next decade. The college started planning this capital improvement program in 2012. The CIP, which is that capital improvement program, envisions providing academic core courses, workforce technology, laboratories, developmental education, early college, dual credit student support, and library services at each campus. Okay. And now we've got 2 campuses, and then I'm going to go over, if I can find the numbers here, what the actual enrollment is and the utilization of the facilities that we have now versus later. Okay. And then it says that we have nearly $55,000 people have earned degrees and certifications preparing them for employment or university transfer at Del Mar College, and that's since 1935. That's about what, 600 a year maybe. So I don't know, and how you can justify that, although, like I say, these characters around here did a good job of expanding all this good stuff and lying to you about the need for all these new buildings and so forth and so on, okay? And, the debt per student is around $33,000 to $36,000. It depends on which set of numbers you use, but it is as high as a kite. And then on Tuesday, May the 14th, there was a Board of Regents meeting. Okay, and I've got the agenda here. It was a whole bunch of blather about different things, and a whole bunch of blatant lies that came out of that, and untruths and stretching of the truth and everything else. But it went on and on and on until about, I guess it was from 1 to at least 4. And then they did put the public comment before they went into closed session for hours. I think that, I don't know how long that lasted before they came out of closed session. So I do know, we've had some problems over there with people suing Del Mar College. I'll go into that later when the dust settles. And it's amazing the way that faculty and staff members over there, non-administrators, are treated by that administration. And starting from department chairs up, and I'll discuss my department chair one of these days. I have purposely no conversations with the man if I can avoid it. Okay, because we have a select privileged few over there. I'll discuss those too. Then, just out of curiosity, every month they have this checklist, or list of checks that were written to different entities here to supply things and so forth to Del Mar College. There's one of them that I'm particularly interested in, and it's Graves, Daughtry, Heron, and Kasperitas. That's the attorney group out of Austin, Texas. And they consult when I write Public Information Act requests. They jump in there and have concoct some reason why the college doesn't have to provide me with the information I've asked for. They're pros at that. But I don't guess as a Jew boy I'm going to get a free ham this next year, because they only were able to bill $2,559.34 in legal fees. That was for the month of the check was written on the 7th of March, so I guess that was in February on. So I'm going to ask for the billing cycle on that and find out what the specific billings were for. But we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars with that firm up there. And, you know, we have a full-time general counsel over here making big bucks. And why he can't write letters and you know the law, then I'm really not able to fathom that, why we do this stuff. Okay. Now, one of the big issues that's come up that's made a lot of people mad around here is with all this preaching that we need new buildings and so forth and so on, and we're bursting at the seams with we need more classroom space, okay? So we've got existing classroom utilization. This was put out by Del Mar at this meeting. I've got a copy here of the graphic that they had up on the board. And it says that the number of rooms in use we've got 120, and this is east, west, and so forth, and northwest center, and the Center for Economic Development. Then between the hours of 8 a.m. and noon, then we've got occupied on, and they've got them down here for Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, you know, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday and Saturday. Well, of course, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are flatliners. They don't have classes over there. Every once in a while they will teach one on a Friday, but that's very, very rare. I remember when I was teaching at Del Mar, Mr. Venters, who was then president, came to me and found out I was teaching anatomy physiology classes, human anatomy physiology, up at St. Philip's College in San Antonio. That was after I moved down here from the San Antonio area, where I had been teaching up there a bit, and I didn't want to burn that bridge, so I drive up there early Saturday morning, teach 2 classes, and then return Saturday evening. Okay, now it was a strain on me and the family, but I didn't want to burn that bridge and jump out of that possible having them open up a full-time position up there at St. Philip's College. So I decided I would drop that, and this was a couple of years after I had been doing that. And Mr. Venters found out about it, and he said, "Would you teach Saturday classes here so we'd have utilization? And we've got a lot of students who can't make it necessarily in the evenings and during the week, so would you do the Saturday?" So I said yes, and I taught for quite some time until we had a knucklehead of a vice president who said that people in my department were getting a little bit upset because I was getting filthy rich doing overload classes on Saturday. Now, overload classes, I'm paid roughly 1/3 of what I get for a regular class. And I said, you know, that's typical Del Mar College mathematics. How can you work for 1/3 of your normal pay and get rich doing it if you're not rich with your full pay? So, you know, I mean, that's Del Mar College math. So anyway, here we go. We're stretching it again. So we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday classes. Okay, very rare on Friday. None that I know of on Saturday. And then Sunday is a flatliner. Okay, now, so between noon, we've got about 110 out of 120 classrooms being utilized. Now, it didn't say that they're full at between those. Okay, but those are the peak times, and then it trails off from noon until 4, and then it bottoms out to maybe 20, 25 or so classrooms at 4 o'clock, and then we get the evening crowd in over there, and maybe it looks like it may be half occupied at any given time, Monday through Thursday on those lines. Okay, so that's existing classrooms. Now, then what they said was that they are utilized at 60 some odd percent, existing classroom utilization, and they go by buildings. Aquatic Center, 61.5 out of their total quantity of classroom, out of their one classroom over there. I guess that's what this says. Okay, and then the Coles building, they're up to 58 something, and they're, let's see, how many rooms have we got in that thing? Total quantity classrooms 36. I don't think there are that many. Well, there may be. Okay, but they're 58%. Okay, and then we drop down. It didn't print out well over here, but they've got fine arts and so forth and so on. And then the Garcia Science Building's the one I'm in, and we've got supposedly 5 classrooms there. We actually have more than that. We've got laboratory space, but it's 66.9. Now, there's a company that is the coordinating engineers and so forth and so on, consulting engineers on all this construction we've got going around. Okay. Now, the man stood up there and presented the numbers on this, and bottom line, from what I took away, was he said that we're over 60% utilization at the during the days that we're open. Now, the previous year, the utilization of the East Campus classrooms was right at 35%. If you looked at West Campus and the numbers of that the year before this trash came out, okay, we had less than 25%. And then I forget how low it was up at the Northwest Center. And, there are not many classes held over at the Economic Development Center. But with those numbers, we're bursting at the seams, and we need to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on new classroom space. Okay? Now, we can't maintain the space we've got. I've said that the DMC is not Del Mar College, it's deferred maintenance college. Okay? And you can go through there, and we've got big carpet stains. Elevators are out frequently for days and weeks at a time. And it's a horrible mess over there, folks. The grounds look like crap, and like a third world country, and nothing gets done. You go into the student center, and it smells bad. And in an elevator, they won't fix the little rail in there. They've got the yellow caution tape around it for months and months on end. That was actually years on that one. I haven't been over there lately to check and see if it's been done. And I know they've got severe problems with problems out there on the West Campus with a lot of those facilities and so forth. And the maintenance is not done. So I'll give you another example of how insane it is. In the Buddy Venters building, which houses business and informational technology, and had the GED program in there until we lost that system. Now there's a second floor up there. It's like a ghost village. But anyway, if you go in there, they had the fire alarm was out for, I guess it was almost a year. It could have been a little over a year. Okay, so what they did is they hired people to walk around as fire monitors in case there was a fire, and they did have a lot of the collegiate high school students in there, and like I say, the GED students, and that cost a bunch of money. Now they finally fixed that, but the money that they used came out of one of these bond elections, okay, and which we're going to pay off over a 10-year period of time, or I guess it's 20 years. But anyway, I think the average length of the alarm being able to work is somewhere between 8 and 10 years, so we're going to be paying for something that we stuck in there using this maintenance money rather than, pay the damn thing off. So we're going to pay for another alarm system and on a 20-year note when it's only good for 10 years. So anybody out there can go ahead and verify anything that I say, folks. I can back it up if you want me to. And I'm sure that it doesn't do that administration any good to have me know a bunch of this information. But there are a lot of perturbed people around, folks, and they share a lot of information with me. House ties property tax relief to school finance. This is another big one that's going around. This is where the state wants to, freeze your property tax and then add some money to the sales tax, the state sales tax, and say that'll cover the school finance problems and so forth and so on. I think it's a bad idea, and there are opinions on this up and down. Okay, and then one of the opinions here in the Caller Times on the 5th of May was what's stopping school reform and tax relief, and it says the Texas legislature set the right priorities for its 2019 session: school finance reform and property tax relief. Okay, both matter to you a lot. And then, of course, we get the politicians involved in that, and it gets totally and completely screwed up. Okay, just watch their lips when it starts moving. They're probably lying to you about something. Then we've got another thing that came out on May the 1st. It says 3 annexation hearings and nothing is heard. This is where the city's trying to annex over 7,000 acres of San Patricio County. Okay, and then it says the Corpus Christi City Council had 3 public hearings during one meeting in one day on the one super hot topic. It's planned to annex about 7,000 acres of San Patricio County. No one made any comment during any of the 3 hearings. And what's odd about that? Okay, the San Patricio County is hopping mad about the annexations. The folks there see it as a greedy land grab. They showed up last month at a public hearing and had plenty to say about it. They let Corpus Christi officials know they think they're a bunch of thieves and want tax revenue from explosive industrial growth. Well, here we go again. I went through the situation with Valero. As soon as ExxonMobil gets in over there, and then they've run out of their tax abatements and so forth and so on, that the elected officials have and will give them the tax abatements, then they've got billions and billions of dollars. It's a Saudi Arabian joint venture with Exxon and so forth, Mobil Oil. So you're going to be right back in the same pinch, folks. They're going to say, nope, you've got us, the evaluations are too high, we're not going to pay it, we've got billions of dollars, you guys are broke. You got not 2 pennies to rub together over there in Corpus Christi, so we'll just outlast you in court and to hell with you. And that's the appreciation of the large corporations in this country with the citizenry of the places that they open these things up. Okay. And then it says the city's going to let Portland annex 850 acres. So, where does this end? The whole thing is just, it's nuts, folks, okay? So all I can say is silence isn't the answer. If you want to come on this show, I'll put you right here where these beautiful flowers are. Now, I've tried to get some magnolias out of the tree again, but I was unable to. I had a person in here that trimmed my trees once and took it from the ground to about 30 feet in the air, so I can't reach the magnolias anymore. I love to bring them in. I prefer, I think that the aroma that they exhibit is fantastic. I grew up with those all over the southeast and Texas and so forth as a child. So I love magnolias, and they're in full bloom right now. Now, and then I've checked the roses out at a couple of spots around town, and after Mother's Day, they're sold out except for the ones where the petals are falling off. So I went out on my patio, and I've got shrimp plants growing. So I went ahead and cut back. I need to trim it way back, but these are just the regular shrimp plants. I think they're beautiful also. I've got 5 or 6 hummingbirds out on the patio at all times buzzing around. This is sirloin steak to them, steak and lobster dinner. So, these are dedicated to my mom, Miss Connie, and my deceased wife, Miss Lynn, and a very dear friend of mine, Miss April 23. And I'll discuss the trials and tribulations of that poor woman here lately, okay? And I'm going to be all over a management company for allowing the toxic moles to grow and then dump her out in the streets, essentially, when she couldn't be in that house any longer. Okay. All right. Now, don't divert funds from the seawall. This is another one. This was by Larry McKinney. I think it's Dr. McKinney, a senior executive director of the Hart Research Institute for Gulf of Mexico Studies at Texas A&M University, Corpus Christi. He knows what he's talking about. Now, we have pay taxes around here to maintain our seawall and flood control for downtown and other parts of the city, okay, particularly down on the seawall. Now, a lot of the seawalls gone to hell, like that fountains down there and the splash park or whatever they call that thing down there, Miradors, and so forth and so on. And so now what they want to do is take money from this actual seawall construction and prevention of water flooding the whole city and fix those up for tourists. Now, why did they go bad in the first place? It's just like the infrastructure around here. It's just like the streets. They're going to hell in a handbasket, folks. Okay, I defy you to drive down Ocean Drive and then expect tourists to come in and drive around on those streets and think it's anything better than southern Borneo somewhere on some oyster shell street out in the middle of nowhere in a third world country. In fact, I think Corpus Christi has been third world for a while. I think it's going to fourth world now, if there's any such thing. But anyway, Dr. McKinney has indicated that we shouldn't divert funds from the seawall down there for all these other tourist trap, enterprises and projects and so forth. We need to keep it so that we don't have flooded streets down here, because it is going to be a problem. So we need to maintain the seawall in order to protect ourselves. Okay. And then we've got the NRG plant opening again in, it says facility mothballed when Sherwin Alumina filed for bankruptcy. We're going to, that's the natural gas thing again. Harbor items, island's vital role in the global economy. They're pushing this, Caller Times is, so that Jeffrey Ashcroft is the CEO of Lone Star Ports, with more than a decade of leadership and experience in marine terminal development and so forth. So they want to go ahead and pollute the entire intercoastal canal and our ports and so forth down here. Okay, with Harbor Island, let's just turn it into a big ball of crude oil, and then we can put a desal plant down there and run all that brine that we're going to generate for that back in there and kill all the wildlife off and pollute everybody around here. And then, maintain our plastics up there just north of us with all those plastic metals floating around in the bay and estuaries and stuff. And then I could go on forever with that, but I won't. And then I'll talk briefly. I filed for some Public Information Act requests for public information, and once again Del Mar has shipped off a letter to the AG's office asking for an opinion, and then shipped I want contracts for some of the people that signed contracts on this construction at Del Mar College for a specific reason, and I'm told that that company has more rights than the public does, who's paying all the bills for them. So we'll see how that one shakes out. Okay. So once again, I just want to tell you that you can reach me at gsansing@gmail.com, and I'll respond to you. I'll give you the meeting times for the Corpus Christi Taxpayers Association and any other information that I can provide. And remember, silence is not the answer. And if I can help anybody out there, then all you have to do is ask. So I'm going to turn this off, and then I'll be right back in just a minute. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I've got about a minute left, maybe a little bit less, so I'm going to put this up for about 20 seconds or so. Again, my name is Gerald Sansing, and I go by Jerry with a J. So these films and shows are available on YouTube. If you just go into YouTube and put in Jerry Sansing, then you can pick up the whole 9 yards there, both this one and the What's Going On in Corpus Christi show. which is taxpayers, and you know, just email me if I can do anything for you. I'm going to go ahead and put the flowers back on and let you see those for a bit. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, those are those beautiful shrimp plants and the blooms. Like I say, that's absolute heaven for the little hummingbirds I've got out back. So I'm just going to let the time run down and enjoy those. Have a good evening.